One thing I like is they have the picture on the plaque. I think it's dated about 2001. But the other thing, I now know what the definition of the short straw is, and that's following Charlie, Susan, and Neil at the podium. So congratulations to those three folks, and they did a great job up here. So the other thing I'd say is I didn't realize that this industry could quite clean up this well. It's pretty amazing and pretty impressive. I wanted to start out and say thank you to my family. My beautiful wife, Jane, my equally beautiful two daughters, Maggie and Ellie, who I'm not sure they realized how lucky they are that they took after their mom. And they put up with a lot of travel. This is a business that requires a lot of face-to-face interaction. So the amount of travel and stress and so on, they put up a lot. So again, thank you. And that actually reminds me of a story. My mom and dad, and I can't remember if it was their 62nd or 63rd wedding anniversary. And someone came up to my mom and said, "Betsy, how did you put up with him for that long?" And she didn't blink an eye. It was just like she said, "Well, he was gone for half of them." So, it has been a wild ride for me in this industry, and I truly do love the industry and the people. I grew up in suburban New York, and I don't think I would have believed it if someone told me that I'd spend 40 years crushing rock. And all I can say is thank God it happened, because it's been an absolutely fantastic experience. And it really gets down to the people. A lot of the people in this room that I've gotten to know, and so many around the place, this is just as the three prior inductees said, this is all about the people here. I had what I'd have to say is a really simple career. Worked for only two companies, CRH and then Summit Materials. And the one thing I can say is I did get to spend a lot of money. I did a little over 300 acquisitions in total in my career and spent close to $10 billion. And the best part of that was getting to know the owner entrepreneurs, not only of the ones that we acquired or that joined with us, but also the 300 that didn't. And really almost to a man, these were people of character and integrity. And I can say a couple of things that always stuck with me. One is that so many of these folks they didn't insist on the highest price. They wanted a very fair price, and they'd negotiate hard, sometimes very hard. But what they really wanted was to do business with someone that they knew, respected, and trusted. Because probably the most emotional and difficult things people do is to sell their business. And that dealing with someone that they knew and trusted and that wasn't going to do anything, it was just so important. And then the second thing that always amazed me was you'd give someone tens of millions of dollars and they show up at work at 6 a.m. on Monday. Just amazing. They may buy an airplane or buy a bigger house, but they still went to work at 6 because that's who they were and what they were all about. So I thought a lot about reflecting on my career, now that I have lots of time to do that, by the way. And there's always sort of key turning points in someone's career. Certainly for me, one was certainly leaving CRH and starting Summit with no money, no job, a big mortgage, and a big idea. And that was actually, pretty stressful. And the next one was teaming up with Blackstone, the big private equity firm, who were great partners. And the partner I dealt with there is still a good friend, and they were just fantastic to deal with me. But actually the biggest turning point for me was having a role model and a mentor to help me along the way. And that mentor for me was a guy named Don Gottson back at CRH. And he actually hired me in Dublin in 1979. And he came to the US in 1978 to start a business for CRH. And a really funny story was that he came over and he wanted to call it CRH America. And the board back in Dublin said, maybe not yet. Let's, in case you screw up, let's come up with something else. And he on his own came up with the name of Oldcastle, which was appropriate because CRH's headquarters back in Dublin was in an old castle. And it was, and he was this visionary, great guy, wonderful personality. He's probably 85 or 86 right now, but just absolutely a great guy. And he built a great business with really a unique people-focused culture. And just people-focused was what it was all about for Don. And what he drilled into me, and really drilled into me, was the humility to treat everyone in the business with the same amount of respect. It didn't matter if you were on the front desk, on the back of a paver, or the CEO. You got the same amount of respect. And I watched him. If there was a young, smart MBA who couldn't do that, didn't matter how smart he was out of there. So, he created an environment where everybody felt they could speak their minds and their opinions would be heard. They'd maybe be ignored, like most of mine, but always heard, and that was the important thing. Everybody felt that they could speak up. So Don taught me this fundamental philosophy that I think guided me in whatever success I had. And call it luck or skill, but I've also been blessed to have a talented team around me, many of whom jumped off the cliff with me to start Summit, and many of whom are here tonight. And I thank you guys and gals for coming. So in closing, I just wanted to say a huge thanks to every single person that I worked with over the last 40 years. You are the ones who deserve this award. And thank you for this tremendous award here tonight. And again, thank you.